Are you married or in a committed relationship looking for real advice on having love and enriching your relationship? You are in the right place. Welcome to The Couples Expert with Stuart Fensterheim.
Hello, and welcome to the Couples Expert podcast. This is Stuart Fensterheim, the Couples Expert. Today's podcast is on Are You a Good Partner? And the ways for each one of us to be able to evaluate this for ourselves. However, I wanted to share that in the middle of writing the script that I have for this, my family went through a really tragic event. My mother-in-law passed away this past Sunday. Lolita Capello was an incredible mother-in-law. She was such an incredible mother to her children and an incredible addition to my family and such an incredible wife to her husband. At 87 years old, or I should say years young, until the day she died, she lived a wonderful life. And without being very verbally expressive, you knew you were loved. She truly made me feel like I was part of the family so very quickly. And in spite of the fact that this was a remarriage for her daughter and myself, I was included. And do you know how special that is? It's such a special person to be able to really open your arms to someone new and have them feel loved, accepted, and part of. I am going to miss her very, very much. She and her husband, Al, had 64 incredibly wonderful years. And when it comes to being a good partner, she'd be able to write the book. So today, what I want to do is dedicate this podcast to her memory, a memory that is filled with love, friendship, and knowing how to help your partner feel loved for the entire life that you have together. And she and Al had a relationship that truly lasted her lifetime. So Lolita, safe journey. We'll all miss you. And your memory will never be forgotten because it's such a blessing to all of us. There is no such thing as a perfect marriage. I wrote a series of articles recently on creating your own unique love story. In it, I talk about that there's no one definition of a perfect relationship. Each one of us can be that perfect relationship partner to our partners as long as we know what they need from an attachment perspective, and that there's a willingness to develop this emotionally connected relationship in which we are so passionate about being that one person in our partner's life that truly has them feeling loved authentically and vulnerably, where we demonstrate every single day in words and in actions how special they are to us. The commitment that each one of us has is a passion, a passionate need. And I want to stress that. This has to be a need that each one of us have that allows our partners to feel that their happiness is as important to us as our own, and that they don't question that. There isn't any doubt that you need, like water and food and the air we breathe, to have our partners be happy in our life. And that we want to know that our presence makes a difference for them because we are that one person in the world, out of all the people in the world you could have come across, you met them. And that there's nothing that has you more joyful than that fate of chance encounter with the billions of people who live in this world, you found them and they found you. And that nothing is more important to you than they are. So what I'm going to do in this episode of the Couples Expert podcast is going to ask each one of you to do a real soul-searching questioning of your own behavior, and do your actions and your words send the right message? And do you see that you have the right stuff? The stuff that you can dig down deep, open your heart, and be that person for your partner that truly has them feeling special? And are you the right partner for them? And if you are, you should be so incredibly happy. So what I'm going to do is break down some characteristics and signs that you are that right partner, and that your partner is the luckiest person alive because you're in it. So get ready for a little bit of a ride here when we talk about being the right stuff as a relationship partner. Today's podcast is sponsored by Stuart's Daily Notes. I want to tell you about a service I offer for my subscribers. It's called Stuart's Daily Notes. If you could do one small thing every day to be a better person and partner, a small change that will make your relationship more loving, secure, and connected, would you do it? Why wouldn't you? My purpose in creating Stuart's Daily Notes is to give you short clips, tips, and advice in your email inbox every weekday that will do just that, all for $9.99 a month. 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. You can do something positive and meaningful to make your relationship stronger and more fulfilling. Subscribe to Stuart's Daily Notes and start making that transformation in yourself, your life, and your marriage today. One of the first characteristics of a great partner is that you make your partner and relationship a priority in your life. We all have things that pull our attention away, but we need to stay focused that our partner, the person we're spending our life with, has to be a top priority. But in a healthy relationship, no one has to be top dog. You both share the spotlight. The overshadowing characteristic is generosity and sensitivity and caring, and it's not a competition. It's not a place where the two of you try to win. If you and your partner are caught up in a cycle of trying to be the winner of all arguments, the winner of all situations, this is what I need you to be thinking about. Your relationship is losing. You two must work as a fine-tuned machine. The second characteristic of a great partner, and this is really a foundation, your partner has the utmost respect for you. Your feelings are more important than any one issue. And both of you treat each other that way. That how someone is feeling about the interaction, about the dialogue between the two of you, is more important than whether or not you get your way with the finances, or whether or not the two of you win that position that says, my way is the right way. Because when we're interacting in a way with our partners, and we could normally see this, you can see on their face the pain if you're looking. And if someone is crying, how do you respond to that? The feelings that are being expressed in this interaction, if there is a painful interaction going on, the two of you need to look at each other and say, wait a minute, let's slow this down. This is the person that I care about. This is the person that I love. And I need to tone it down because I clearly am having a negative impact on the person that I love. This is about sensitivity. It's a foundation characteristic that respect and sensitivity to our partners is what's important. Let's think of it this way. If you think of your relationship as a separate entity and as a child that needs nurturing in your life, I see this with moms especially. They are so caring and sensitive to their toddlers' feelings, but yet they're so rough and just really demeaning of a partner sometimes, and the two just don't match. I want you to really begin to think of your relationship as a child that you're trying to develop an emotional life with, that you two really treat this relationship with the kind of tenderness that I see parents treating their children with. If you do this, your relationship will be wonderful. You have to make it a priority in your life. But I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying. We all will push each other's buttons sometimes, because when you're living with someone 24/7, that's bound to happen. It's not whether or not you will get triggered or whether you trigger your partner. It's what do you do when you're triggered. That's what really makes a great partner. Because when someone is triggered, they're able to slow themselves down and have the memory right in front of them of this is the person that you love. This is the person that has chosen for you to spend your life with. And there's nothing that matters more than them that counts. And do you maintain that caring and sensitivity that every partner needs? Here's another one. How much time and energy and effort are you putting into your partner and into your relationship? Do you take an interest in what your partner needs? Do you acknowledge and communicate with them? Have you maintained the romance in your relationship, or can you even spell the word romance? Or is it a foreign concept to you? If it is, you need to learn it. When we think about how much time and energy we're putting into the relationship, there are so many people that do such a great job with time management. I'm not one of them, perhaps, but there are a lot of people that do a really great job that every day they sit and make to-do lists. Are you one of those people? I want you to look at your to-do list. Is romance and relationship efforts on your daily to-do list? Do you have down there that today I'm going to work on the emotional connection in my relationship and I will do this, and the this be in very behavioral terms? This is partly why I put together my Stuart's Daily Notes that is available on my website, because this is a 5-video series that I will send to each one of you to give you practical things that you can do today to really have your partner feel loved. And if there's an interest that you have in that, go check it out. Here's the other side of that, though. Are your words and your actions consistent? If you say, I care about you, and you talk disrespectfully to your partner most of the time, your words and actions aren't consistent. Are you someone in their life that they would define you as an authentic, vulnerable person, someone who really shares their thoughts and their feelings with them? Because if you're not, you need to work on that skill. It is something that you can develop a skill for of how to share vulnerably your emotions, and each one of us needs that. Here's a question to ask yourself again. Do you let go of small stuff? Or do you hold on to the resentments that build up because the small things you make into a mountain? And are you able to let go of the small stuff and recognize that both of you need that person in your life that's able to have a little bit of an argument and within rather quickly just let go of it? So let's talk about arguing and conflict. When we think about a relationship, there are going to be things that really create tension and arguing for all relationships, because no relationship is free of that. As a matter of fact, one of the more important things that concern me when I'm sitting with the couple, if they say to me, "We never argue," I begin to ask myself, are they committed to this relationship? Are they putting their all into the relationship where they are allowing themselves to be impacted by their partners? And if there is never any kind of arguing about trying to make the relationship feel better to both of you, are they so withdrawn from each other that they're really in one of these freeze and flees where they're not really investing emotionally in their partner? So if you're in a relationship that's working, you're bound to have times that don't work very well. As I said a moment ago, it's not whether or not you have an argument, it's what do you do when the argument occurs. I recently did a video with some specific suggestions of how to do an argument so it's productive. But what I'm going to do here is really talk about, if you are that partner that you want to be, what would a conflict be about? And I think the first thing is we need to recognize that all conflicts for most people, if you really get vulnerable with yourself and with your partner, is out of fear for the loss of emotional closeness. So that one of the things that we need to make sure we do is really recognize that what we're fighting for is that emotional connection. So that when you experience a trigger, what it does is it pulls you into a really scary place in which you now feel like your whole world is falling down around you because you don't feel like you can reach your partner in an emotional way that has you being that person and having you feel that you're that person in your partner's life that is important to them. Typically, the emotion that tends to be, which is a surface emotion that tends to surface, is going to be anger. So the first step is going to be, as a really good partner, you need to maintain some emotional control, because you don't want to let that anxiety that we're talking about be the thing that gets in the way. And then before you know it, you're saying things that you didn't want to say, raising your voice, you begin to yell, and then your partner equally is feeling some of this anxiety, and they too are tapping. And before you know it, you have two people going at this in a very unhealthy way. So as a partner, you need to then be able, even in the light of this conflict, maintain some emotional stability. And that's not always so easy. So really being that partner is about really allowing yourself to calm down. Sometimes it may require you taking a few minutes to really not engage, have a moment. But when you take that time out, the most important piece is making sure your partner knows that you're needing a timeout to maintain some emotional control so you don't sort of make things worse, and that you're going to come back in 5 or 10 minutes, and then your responsibility is to reach back out to them in a very short period of time, almost using a timer for that 5 or 10 minutes. Now, while you're talking with your partner, one of the more important pieces is don't interrupt. Now, this can be really difficult. And I see so many people, what they do is they're really sort of in their heads doing sort of a comeback line to what their partner is saying. They're not really present and engaged in the conversation, because what they're doing is thinking about what can they say in response to the partner. Your job when you're in the middle of a argument with your partner is to communicate to them how much you care about them and your understanding for what they're feeling. You don't have to agree, but you do have to understand. And this needs to be done, as we've talked already, in very respectful ways. The problem for a lot of folks is that you're afraid of this conflict. The fear is that we're going to really pull apart and it's not going to work well. The two of you need to begin to have conversations, not when you're upset with each other, to really talk about what works and what doesn't work during arguments. And one of the more important pieces is you need to have a commitment to one another that the past doesn't come up. Just the present situation. Do not throw the kitchen sink into this argument. What you want to do is really maintain an emotional connection during this argument. How you know if you're a good partner and the two of you have done a good job with this is so often the experience a lot of couples have is that right in the middle of an argument, your partner's able to crack you up. That's right. They're able to really say or do something that has both of you laughing. If you have those experiences with your partner, you know that you're handling your conflict in a very positive way. And what that probably means is that you've done a good job to keeping the issues right where they belong, which is with the one issue that you're trying to resolve. Don't try to bring up other times, other situations, but what about you? These kinds of comments, because it's not going to make the two of you really feel like you can sit down, resolve an issue, and walk away rather quickly, feeling better because you've talked it out, and now you can go about your day enjoying each other's company. And again, the key is no criticizing. Be open about what you need and be open to your partner's perspective. You don't have to agree with each other, but what you can't do is minimize your partner's emotions. And the one piece that I see is the biggest destructive issue that comes up for a lot of couples is in the middle of the arguing, there are divorce or separation threats that are also hidden with other things. It sounds like you're really miserable and I think you'd be happier with someone else. That's an awful thing to say to your partner. And so often, those are the things that come back to bite you in the butt because what you then are requiring yourself and your relationship. And remember, we talked earlier about being that sensitive relationship, nurturing your relationship. What you've now done is destroyed the security of the relationship. And you now are going to have to find a way to really stabilize the relationship to have both the people feel secure. And that's a tough call. So I want you as that wonderful partner you're trying to become, really make a commitment, not to your partner, but to yourself, that the separation and divorce threats never, ever come up. If you're in a place where you're wondering about that, that needs to be dealt with in a very different way, not in the middle of an argument. Because decisions about your relationship have to be based on facts and the realities, not emotional response. And so often what ends up happening is that you end up keeping score with one another and that it just is an awful experience for everybody. So you need to be able to have these discussions with both people being emotionally present and not being someone that withdraws emotionally when your partner is speaking to you. So often what I see happening for folks is they start with an issue, there's a trigger that occurs, and before the words come out of your partner's mouth, I see the partner emotionally withdrawing in the office. They basically sometimes even physically turn away, their eyes gloss over, and you know they're not even listening. They're physically present, but no one's home. And as a really good partner, that experience never happens. Now, some of us have been raised in environments that anger has been really destructive and has been filled with abusive, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. And if that is something that has occurred for you, those conversations need to occur with your partner so you can come up with a strategy of really having a relationship in which both of you are utilizing skills that you've learned for conflict resolution and really being able to have a relationship where both people are fighting for their emotional closeness. Now, one of the more important characteristics of a great partner is that you're a great listener. So often we talk about communication, and when we talk about communication, what we really talk about is being clear in our dialogues and being able to really share our feelings in respectful ways. Not enough has gone into the skill of being a good listener. Being a good listener means being able to be attentive to your partner and not being distracted by other things. To really send nonverbal cues to our partners, like shaking our heads when they're talking, which then allows our partners to know that we're right with them, that we are able to really send a message verbally and nonverbally that we are caring about what they have to say, and the focus is on them, and more importantly, is on understanding their perspective, and we're not thinking of what is the comeback line that we're going to give to discount what our partners are saying. I talked a little bit about that earlier today. So when you're listening, you want to really make sure that you're listening for the intent. What I like to say is if everything is about and arguments are about a fight for connection, what is missing for your partner? Do they not feel like they really understand how important they are to you? And when you're having the dialogue, are you communicating with them that what you're hearing is the pain in the disconnect? And you're going to talk with them about how important they are to you, how you want to be that one person in the world that has their back. And that a good listener has direct eye contact, that you're looking at them. Now, culturally, this could be a little bit of a challenge for some of you, because if you come from a culture or a family background where people didn't listen, then you're not going to be as comfortable really looking at your partner when they're talking with you. And so often I see people staring out into space, and the perspective that the partner has is they're not caring. And what it is they're really thinking about what their partner is saying. So you really want to talk about what do each of you need to really be able to have the sense that your partner cares about what you're saying. And so often people then come back with yes, buts, or they talk about their issue when their partner is sharing something really deeply emotional. They change the conversation. You want to stay focused and send the message to your partner that you will listen to what they have and what they're feeling as long as they need to be communicating with you. That there isn't a time limit, that you're going to attend and attune into their message of love and caring and desire to be close. That you're going to be that one person in their life that always is right there with them, wanting to hear what they have to say, and as a matter of fact, encouraging for them to talk as long as they need to. So a good partner is also a good listener. Now, what we also want to do is be someone that really understands that we want to celebrate our partner's successes, and that the question to ask yourself is, do you have an interest in the things that your partner enjoys? For instance, I want to make this quite simple. If the two of you are sitting there watching television together, are you the couch commander with the remote? Or are you turning to your partner and asking them what they would like to watch? Are you watching television, if that's part of what the two of you do together, as to watch a show, or is it something to share an experience? My wife absolutely loves the Antique Roadshow. I really don't like it very much. But half the time that we're watching television, were watching those kinds of shows with her. She likes Antique Roadshow. She likes the show The Prophet. She likes Undercover Boss. All of these kinds of shows that really aren't exactly my cup of tea. And I sit there and I watch it with her. I don't go into another room to watch my shows while she watches her shows. That's a disconnect. That's not sending the message to your partner that you care about what's interested to them. Another way of looking at this is if your partner is involved in a community group in which they're raising money for a cause that your partner is interested, are you sending the message to them and asking them questions about it and asking her or him what you could do to be involved? Because you have to share your life together. This is really important. We need to acknowledge and really be accessible to our partners in the things that matter to them. Now, last but not least, what I want to talk about is your physical relationship. So often, this is an area that being a good partner means also being a partner that satisfies your partner in terms of their needs for touch. We all need that. Now, I'm not just talking about sex here. I'm talking about affection. Are you someone that really is invested in making sure your physical relationship is satisfying to both of you? Your job as a partner is to make sure your partner's needs for touch and sexuality are taken care of. It is a fact that most couples don't touch enough. And you need to be touching physically without it being the precursor for a sexual experience. Do you cuddle? Do you kiss? Do you stroke? Do you hold hands? I can't tell you how many couples I see in my office that I rarely ever see them holding each other's hands. When someone is in pain, I don't see someone leaning over and giving them a kiss on the cheek and say, everything's going to be okay. This part of a relationship is critical. As a partner in which you have the ingredients that your partner would tell the world that they are the luckiest person alive because you're there, is someone that has a lot of touch in their life. That when you wake up in the morning, the first thought in your mind is reaching over, giving your partner a hug and a kiss and say, my world is good because you're in it. And then holding your partner for a few moments or stroking them as the two of you go to sleep. When is the last time, as you were lying in bed, going to sleep, that you reached over, held your partner's hand, stroked their hand, and just sent a message non-verbally that you're glad that they're there? Those are the ingredients of a good partner. One of the things I'm going to share in the show notes is a Are You a Good Partner profile test that was put together by Dr. Phil, I believe it is. And what I want you to do is each of you to take the test. And I want you to take it for yourself. And then lastly, what I want you to do is take the test for your partner. So you're doing two versions, one that you believe about you and one your assessment of your partner. Then I want you to share both versions with your partner and have a conversation. Talk about what are the aspects of your relationship as a relationship partner that you can improve in. Don't think of this as a way of being criticized. Think of this as your baseline that you're going to recognize your partner's needs that you're maybe not fulfilling right now. And be dedicated to really being that partner that you want to be for your lover so that the two of you really have a relationship that's going to last your lifetime. Thank you for joining me again, and take care. And as always, please stay connected. Bye-bye now.
Thank you for listening. This episode has ended, but your journey continues. Head over to www.thecouplesexperts.com to access all the links and resources mentioned in this episode, as well as bonus content exclusive to podcast listeners. Enjoyed this episode? Why not hit subscribe now and never miss an episode?